It is a great day for some form checks. All right, posted yesterday that I was going to do 5 form checks for review. So let's go ahead and take a look here. I like this one, LTD Pilot. We're talking, how much weight is this? Not entirely sure how much weight it is. Doesn't really matter all that much, but let's take a look at these squats. That's pretty good. So, 2 things that I'm seeing. Number one, your knees are a little late to the party all the way down. Okay. So they're also, I'm not sure they're getting all the way out. They look like they're tracking inside your feet a little bit. So, one, you need to, as you go down, really focus on shoving your thighs apart and getting your kneecaps pointed out in line with your toes on the way down. It looks like they're coming in just a little bit. The second thing is get your knees set to the furthest forward position sooner. So your knees go forward, your hips go back at the same time as you bend over. Because what's happening, your knees are traveling all the way into the bottom. You're staying just a little bit too upright on the way down. And then on the way up, look at the difference in your back angle. See how vertical you are versus in the bottom as you come up. Watch your back angle now. See how bent over you are? You need to get this bent over on the way down with your knees forward and out. Now, the third thing is get rid of that silly nylon belt. Get a leather one. This is like a 4-inch nylon belt. Not only is it probably too big for you to properly set your back, I bet you have issues with that in your deadlift, setting your back effectively because the belt is so big, probably pinching into the ribs and all that. And then the next thing is those little kind of nylon-y belts are super malleable, so you don't get quite the tightness that you could with a leather belt. Get a 3-inch leather single prong lifting belt. If you want to buckle, do it. But the Strength Co. Dominion Strength Training makes 2 of the best single prong belts in the industry for a little over $100. Get on there, support one of those 2 USA businesses, and that's going to help out setting your back a lot better going forward. All right. GWK77, aka Greasy White Kid. Let's talk about your greasy white deadlifts. Well, this is a pretty good start position. Shoulders out in front of the bar mid-foot. You got a hook grip like a badass. I would like to see you get your chest up a little bit more between your arms and focus on actually setting your back. So right here, what I would like to see is your chest rotating up through your arms and you getting just a little extension, not only in your lower back, it looks good, but in your upper back as well. And then push the bar away from the floor. It'll be a little bit tighter, more uncomfortable position to start with, but it's going to be more efficient long term. So instead of pulling as you're squeezing your chest up, you need to get your chest up between your arms more. Okay. Forrest Hunt rhymes with Forrest Gump. Sweet setup. I like your stance width. Looks like you're kind of in a high bar position. Knees tracking out well. Even on a high bar squat, the one thing that you could probably do is stay leaned over on the way up a little bit longer. Say you're driving out of your hips and then you're trying to raise your chest up really early. I would just delay that a little bit. You might get better drive on the way up, even though you are high bar squat. But your balance looks good. Your stance looks good. I don't have too much to complain about. Just add 5 and keep going, brother. Steve Link, this is a cool setup. Got the mountains in the background. Outside, barefoot. Don't love the barefoot. That's pretty good. Man, depth looks good. Maybe hold everything a little tighter as you get down into the bottom. Well, that's not bad. And then get some shoes. You know, it's kind of a pain in the dick. I understand the heel raise thing, but it's kind of a pain in the dick to like set up a board. And when you unrack the bar, you have to get yourself centered on the board. And you have to, make sure you're not getting fucking splinters in your feet and all that. So, man, invest in some lifting shoes. They're like $100. Get that elevated heel built in. You don't have to worry about like jerking around trying to get your feet on the wood platform or anything like that. But hey, man, squats look good. That's what you came here for. You're down to depth. Everything looks pretty manageable. So just keep adding weight, keep getting better. Bob Duquette. What is this? How much weight is this? 315 for 5? Little alternate grip action here. That's pretty good. The one thing, you're just slightly forward. Got your knees bent a little bit too far. The bar is just a little forward on you from where it needs to be. Watch your hips raise up a little bit before the bar actually comes off the floor. I would just start your hips a little bit higher so your knees are right inside your arm crease there, and then get tight, push, set your back with your hips in that spot, then push the floor away, and it's going to become a little bit more efficient for you. But hey, that's a good set of pulls right there. That's pretty good. Dheeraj, we've talked before. How's training going, man? Dude, get some shoes. Shoes will help. Depth looks pretty good from this angle. It looks like you're filming from the side, a little high, so it's when it's filmed from this angle, it's really hard to see anything at all because the plates are in the way. You're kind of up angling down towards that hip crease, so depth is kind of hard to judge, but it looks good. It looks like you're staying in your hips really well. I would maybe turn your toes out a little bit more so you can get that femur rotated out just a little bit, and then just get some shoes. For goodness sake, get some shoes for your squats. If you want to deadlift barefoot, go for it, but fuck. Ben Cochran. What do we got going on here? I wish I could see how much weight this was. That's pretty good. Looks strong. I wish I knew how much weight it was. Is that 3 plates on each side? Is that 365? One thing I would do, man, is don't reset at the top. So this first rep, get tight, push. We'll talk about your hip height here in a second. But at the top, just put the bar back down and breathe at the bottom. Reset your back. Re-ensure you're in the good position versus getting your air at the top and then touching and going at the bottom. I find that you have so much more consistency that way if you reset each rep at the bottom. So the second thing, outside of resetting each rep at the bottom, is careful of not having your butt down too low. You can see as you raise your chest up, we want to raise our chest up to set our back. But that is back extension. We're extending our back and getting it to become a rigid segment to transfer the force. What we're not doing is raising our chest up and dropping our butt down and then trying to squat the bar. So you can see how your butt goes down, your chest goes up, because I'm assuming you're trying to set your back, which is completely understandable. But watch what happens when the bar actually breaks off the floor. See your hips come up, then the bar comes off the floor. You need to start there and then learn to set your back tight. You lift your chest up between your arms. You lift your butt up, your lumbar, your thoracic, everything gets really tight. Hold steady. Your butt is in the right spot. The bar's over the midfoot. The shoulders are out in front of the bar. Then the bar is going to come straight up off the ground as soon as you start applying enough force. Right now, you're putting force into the floor that isn't contributing to upward movement of the bar. The force you're putting in the floor is going nowhere because you're having to raise your hips up until you get your shoulders out in the front of the bar and the bar over the midfoot, and then it goes. So make sure you place the bar over the midfoot at the start of each rep. Then your hip height is in your shoulder position is determined by you squatting your butt down and bending your knees until your shins touch the bar and keeping the bar over the midfoot. And that'll be about right here. And then it's just going to be a matter of you squeezing your chest up between your arms, kind of keeping your butt up to set your lumbar, and then squeezing your abs really hard to hold that segment rigid. So it'll take a little bit of work just to get a bit more efficient of a start position, but really, man, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Just reset each rep, make sure your hips are a little higher, and then learn to set your back. And I've got some resources on how to set your back. Shoot me a message and I can send you the right direction. Big Chungus Among Us. I love that you're a non and you called yourself Big Chungus. Oh, we're pressing. I thought you were going to squat. Hell yeah. All right. Ooh, 225, man. That's good press. That's a strong press. And there's a couple technical things here that maybe would help you out when it comes to pressing is you can see how your wrists are cocked back slightly. I would get the bar on the palm a little bit more. It's called a compression grip where you take it at an angle and then the bar actually rests diagonal across your hands. So when you drive into it, putting the force into it, it goes straight from your forearm bone into the bar versus there being a little distance with the bar cocked back. So that's one little fix that you could do here is learn kind of that diamond grip. Other than that, though, with a 225 press, you might take a little bit wider stance. You might throw a belt on, and you might get out of those running shoes. And man, you'd be a pretty serious presser if you learn the hip throw in there as well, and focus on that because not a lot of guys just like walk in with some khaki shorts, some running shoes, and just raw dog 225. So that's fantastic. Little grunt at the top. Yeah. A little bit more neutral wrists. Gonna tighten things up a little bit and then consider learning the hip throw and all that. But hey, looking good. All right. Well, that's this week's form checks. Some pretty good stuff in here. I will chat with you guys next time I do this.